Now let's bring in our expert panel with Managing Director of the Menzies Research Centre, Nick Cater, and Adoni Media's Lisa Goddard. Well, guys, bit of a boring night, I guess. Let's head to the British newspapers and the British websites on how they've sort of addressed what was going to happen since they woke up a couple of hours ago. Let's start with The Sun. You know, that's basically, he saw that the writing was on the wall. My time is up was the headline a couple of hours ago. And it's interesting that, Lisa, that they sort of got the inside skinny that he'd already been to see Queen Elizabeth to say, Lizzie, I'm stepping down. What do you think? Do you think that the way that the media has sort of conducted themselves sort of pushed him this far?
I think the media just echoed what the public in Britain were feeling and saying. I think he has been under pressure for such a long time that it's no surprise. And when you saw the cabinet sort of falling one after the other, like 50 resignations this morning or in one day alone, I think it was inevitable. We all sat there watching that black door, waiting for him to come out. I found it very interesting. At no point did he actually say, "I resign." He avoided those words completely. Yeah. So, look, I just think it's a very difficult time now for Britain. I think 54% of people who voted for him actually wanted him to leave. Actually wanted him out. He's done his dash. As Sophie Ellsworth said on Paul Murray a short time ago, they were locked in their homes. We saw the Queen sit there at her husband's funeral alone, and he was having partygate. It wasn't acceptable. He was on the nose long before that. That didn't help. And now the lies and forcing ministers or telling ministers to go out and lie, and then being caught out in your own lies. Enough is enough. And I don't think anybody is really surprised. But the fact that he's going to hang on for so long, October is a long, long way down the track, and there's a lot can happen in politics, as we know, in that period of time. So, is he hoping that he can somehow try and turn this around? I don't know.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it, Nick? Like, he didn't mention the word resignation once. He just sort of said, them's the breaks and I've got to go really quickly. The audacity of the man, I can't help but be impressed. But October, it's a bloody long time to hang on.
Well, look, I mean, his greatest quality, I think, has been showmanship, and the fact. I mean, we've all enjoyed it. We've all found him amusing. Remember his high wire act when he comes sailing down with the Union Jacks, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think the moral of this story is that people actually want a bit of character and values and principles in their Prime Minister at the end of the day. And yet Boris has proved to be, dishonest and untrustworthy and really arrogant and out of touch with the voters particularly over this Partygate affair. I think that's what really hurt people in Britain, was the idea that they'd had to hunker down and obey the rules and the masks and everything else that went with it, and he was just living high on the hog, but then lied about it. As so often, it's not the offence itself, it's the cover-up. So, I think the man's got no morals whatsoever. He can't, even now, he's not telling the truth. He's not admitting that he's resigning.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of that speech, there are so many highlights, but let's take a quick look at what he had to say just a couple of moments ago.
And to that new leader, I say, whoever he or she may be, I say, I will give you as much support as I can. And to you, the British public, I know that there will be many people who are relieved, and perhaps quite a few who will also be disappointed. And I want you to know how sad I am to be giving up the best job in the world.
There we have it. Lisa, I found it really interesting, the fact that we heard the booing that had continued outside of Number 10 for what seems like the past couple of days. I was glued to Sky News UK all night last night, and you heard so many MPs being interviewed, and that there was people just like chanting that he's got to go. Surely he's going to say, okay, I get it. If people are now deciding to sing me out, then I've got to go, right?
Well, what I found really interesting out of all the coverage tonight was I didn't realise that in Britain he's known as the greasy piglet, because he just seems to get away time after time after time. It's a very interesting and very British way of describing it. But look, I think he has to admit that the time is up. It's time to go. It was probably time to go a long while ago, and he's resisted that so stubbornly. But like I said, the question now will be what will happen in the UK, and the race now to see who will take on that leadership role, because it's quite a complicated process.
Absolutely.